Om Namah Shri Atirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine Swamine Tapaharine. Last time we saw, or rather we started Swamiji's lecture in Kumbakonam. So after Madurai, Swamiji reaches Kumbakonam and he is now addressing the Hindu audience who have welcomed him there on the topic of the mission of the Vedanta. So this is a very wonderful lecture, very elaborate lecture that Swamiji talks about Vedanta, about the basic principles of Vedanta and how they are most relevant in these times. So he starts with the discussion we saw last time, that as usual he always thanks the people, and he as always he does not take any credit to himself of the success that he achieved in the West. And then he starts talking about how the people of Ceylon also, along with India, they understood, and even the peasants of India and Ceylon, they know much better about a sannyasin, a mendicant who reached the West and who preached the message of Hinduism and successfully preached the message of Vedanta in the West. So even the ordinary peasants, even the ordinary people of India and Sri Lanka, the then Ceylon, so they also know about a sannyasi going to the West and becoming successful in the parliament of religions. But they don't know anything about politics. They don't know about anything about other things that Western people are very much aware of. So he says, Swamiji says, that I have always been thinking, I was thinking previously, that our Indian people are ignorant people. They are uneducated people. So then after going around the world, then I now come to understand that no, they are not ignorant. They are also knowledgeable. But in which sense? Knowledgeable about those things which they are interested in. Everybody is getting knowledge in those things where their interest lies. So Western people are knowledgeable about science, about commerce, about politics because their interest is in that field. Indian people are knowledgeable about religion, spirituality, culture because their interest lies in these things. So Swamiji says it was wrong. It was my wrong idea that previously in my young age I used to judge our Indians as ignorant people, but now I realize that they were never ignorant. Then like this Swamiji continues, and then slowly he comes to the idea that how the Western people, how their politics, social improvement and so on and so forth, and how our God and religion, how these things are applicable, these ideals are applicable differently to different races. So for us, the ideal is God and religion, and for them, the ideals are politics, social improvement, commerce and so on. So each one is following his own ideal. Each one is following his own structure, his constitution. So that is what we discussed, and then we will continue now. We have, as it were, thrown a challenge to the whole world from the most ancient times. In the West, they are trying to solve the problem, how much a man can possess. And we are trying here to solve the problem on how little a man can live. This struggle and this difference will still go on for some centuries. So Swamiji is telling, we are trying to be simplistic, more frugal in our needs, in our life, and Western nations are trying to covet more and more wealth and property and so on. If they want to possess more and more things, so their seeking is going in the direction of more possessions. Our seeking is going in the direction of more frugality, more simplicity. And he says that this difference and this struggle will go on for some centuries. But if history has any truth in it, and if prognostications ever prove true, it must be that that those who train themselves to live on the least and control themselves well will in the end gain the battle, and that those who run after enjoyment and luxury, however vigorous they may seem for the moment, will have to die and become annihilated. So, what Swamiji is trying to tell? That if we have to believe what history we see, and prognostications means prophecies about the future, people who predict about the future, if we have to believe that they ever prove true, it must be that those who train themselves to live on the least and control themselves well will in the end gain the battle. So those who do self-control, those who live on frugality, simplicity, they will win the battle. And who will lose the battle? They who run after enjoyment and luxury, however vigorous they may seem for the moment. Now we may see that Western civilization is very vigorous. It looks like very powerful. It looks like very muscular and very strong, dominating, but it is only for the moment. They will, in the end, they will be annihilated. Swami says they will die because they are going in a wrong way. There are times in the history of a man's life, nay, in the history of the lives of nations, when a sort of world weariness becomes painfully predominant. So there comes a time in a person also, in an individual also, and for races or nations also, that they become tired of this world. They think, what is this world? Why this world? What we are living? What we are seeking? They kind of become introspective. They become self-analyzing persons. They take up. So this is happening now in the West. And he says that it seems that such a tide of world weariness has come upon the Western world. There too, they are thinkers, great men. And they are already finding out that this race after gold and power is all vanity of vanities. Many, nay, most of the cultured men and women there are already weary of this competition, this struggle, this brutality of their commercial civilization, and they are looking forward towards something better. So he says that now I saw Swamiji in the West, when he mixed in those people, what he saw, what he noticed is that those people are also finding for something better, because they are understanding that this is not going to go in the long run. So what is that? They are trying to find something better that will give answers to their deeper questions of life. That is what they are also now slowly coming to think. And then he says, there is a class which still clings on to political and social changes as the only panacea for the evils in Europe. But among the great thinkers there, other ideals are growing. So he says that it's not that whole Europe and America is changing. It's not that whole civilization is changing. But he is saying there are people who are coming out, thinkers and great men, great leaders. Now they are thinking the other way. They have started thinking the Indian way. But it is not that entire Europe or America has changed. Still, there are majority who are still seeking political and social changes as a panacea for evils. So what they are trying to devise new and new political organizations, new and new political institutions, new and new social changes, social transformation, reformations to control the evils in their society. Though majority are still trying the external way, the outward way. So and which is contrary to our Indian way. They have found out that no amount of political and or social manipulation of human conditions can cure the evils of life. So then they find some of them have found that no amount of political or social manipulation of human conditions can cure. They understood that no, it is not working. In the long run, it is becoming futile to go for political systems, political transformations. It is a change of the soul itself for the better that alone will cure the evils of life, that they are going to understand now. They are understanding. They have started. No amount of force or government or legislative cruelty will change the conditions of a race. But it is spiritual culture and ethical culture alone that can change wrong racial tendencies for the better. So this inward path. So now, when I understand that political, social and so on and so forth things are not working for me, then I start going introspective, introvert. And then I try to find out the ethical and spiritual way of solving the problems. Then he said, thus these races of the West are eager for some new thought, for some new philosophy. The religion they have had, Christianity, although good and glorious in many respects, has been imperfectly understood, and is, as understood hitherto, found to be insufficient. So what is that? They want a new philosophy. Why? Because they have Christianity, and Christianity that they understand has been incapable of serving their cause, serving their purpose, serving their seeking. It is not fulfilling their needs. Christianity that they understand wrongly, Swamiji says, if they understood it properly, they could have done much better. They could have had a better life, but they did not understand it properly. They misunderstood the message of the Christ, and that's why they are seeking now the better religion, better philosophy. The thoughtful men of the West find in our ancient philosophy, especially in the Vedanta, the new impulse of thought they are seeking, the very spiritual food and drink for which they are hungering and thirsting. And it is no wonder that this is so. So he is saying, when they found Christianity to be incapable of serving their needs, their spiritual needs, their ethical needs, then they came to Vedanta, and they found, yes, Vedanta is giving that answer. Whatever they were feeling, the lack in religion, lack in philosophy, lack in the inward life, that Vedanta has been giving. The spiritual food and drink, Swamiji says, for which they were hungering and thirsty. So there will be souls everywhere who will be sincere, who will be hungering for something that is real, that is true. So that is why they also came to seek Vedanta. I have become used to hear all sorts of wonderful claims put forward in favor of every religion under the sun. You have also heard, quite within recent times, the claims put forward by Dr. Barrows, a great friend of mine, that Christianity is the only universal religion. So Swamiji says, everybody says that our religion is universal, our religion is the best. It serves all the necessary needs of society and of the world, everywhere, anybody, but it is not so. And he says Dr. Barrows, who was actually instrumental in organizing the Parliament of Religions in Chicago, now when he understood, he was very much adamant in proving that Christianity is the best religion. And that's why he had organized, he was instrumental, he was leading the forefront in organizing that thing. So his motive was that, behind organizing this multi-religious conference, his motive was that to prove that Christianity is the only religion. But he failed because of people like Swami Vivekananda participating in the parliament. He could not prove so. Then he tried it, then they tried, the organizers, they tried it to do the same thing in Europe, in France. So because Swamiji won't be able to speak French, Swamiji won't be able to conquer the Parliament of Religions in France, in Paris. So they shifted the parliament. Later on, they wanted to shift it in Europe, but they failed there also. They could not organize it there. And Swamiji, as soon as he came to know that they are going to organize the Parliament of Religions in France, then he learned French. He was learning it. He had a little knowledge of French, but he was working on improving his knowledge of French so that he can kind of spoil their this plan of proving that only one religion is superior. He wanted to learn French and put the same message that he put in Chicago, that no religion can claim that it is the only religion that can serve. That is what he wanted, but that ultimately did not happen. And then Dr. Barrows thought, let me go to India. And he came to Madras, and everywhere, many other places probably he went, in the south and other also. Then he conducted meetings and he wanted to preach here. Then he thought, let me come to India and preach Christianity and its superiority and convert people and all these things. Then by the time Swamiji also is coming back to India, so these things were, you see, these efforts, these kind of struggle is going on since that time. And we now also, the things have not much changed. So this Swamiji is telling, it cannot be true that if anybody may say that my religion is the only religion under the sun, so it is totally false to say. But if at all there is, now let us see Swamiji what he says. Let me consider this question a while and lay before you my reasons why I think that it is Vedanta and Vedanta alone that can become the universal religion of man, and that no other is fitted for the role. So he says, if at all you have to say that this religion is the best, this Christianity is the best, or Hinduism is the best, or Islam is best, or whatever, If at all you have to bring any such religion, that is universal religion, I will say Vedanta. And Vedanta alone is the universal religion. Why it is so? So Swamiji is trying to explain. Accepting our own, almost all the other great religions in the world are inevitably connected with the life or lives of one or more of their founders. So what is the, why I am saying so? That our Vedanta is the only universal religion. What is the reason why I am saying? So this is the reason why that all other religions are connected inevitably to the life or lives of one or more founders, of their founders. So they are continuously clinging to that only one life of that founder. So that's why they are very much limited. All their theories, Swami said, all their theories, their teachings, their doctrines and their ethics are built around the life of a personal founder, from whom they get their sanction, their authority and their power. And strangely enough, upon the historicity of the founder's life is built, as it were, all the fabric of such religions. So what happens is, naturally, when your philosophy, when your ethics, when your all your teachings, doctrines, everything is surrounding one founder, one person, then what happens? That person's historicity becomes more crucial then, to prove the historicity of that person. Because if he is not a historic personality, then everything goes in the air. So then they have to prove it, that this is a historical person. Then only their doctrines are withstanding. Then only their theories are withstanding. Then only their religion will withstand. That's why it becomes very much crucial that that founder's life is historicity of that founder's life. And what happened? If there is one blow dealt to the historicity of that life, as has been the case in modern times with the lives of almost all the so-called founders of religion, we know that half of the details of such lives is not now seriously believed in, and the other half is seriously doubted. If this becomes the case, if that rock of historicity, as they pretend to call it, is shaken and shattered, the whole building tumbles down, broken absolutely, never to regain its lost status. So he says, see, people are now, in Swamiji's time itself, people had started questioning the historicity of Christ. People are now also, people are questioning the historicity of other founders also, of other religions also, personal founders. So what? Now they have realized that half of their records, that their life, whatever life is available, half of it is false. It is not so. And remaining half, Swami says, the other half is people are doubting. So this is the condition of their lives. So how their religion will survive in that case? Then he continues, every one of the great religions in the world excepting our own is built upon such historical characters, but ours rests upon principles. So what happens? Whenever the question rests only so and solely on historicity, and there is dealt a blow on that historical account, so somebody comes, some scientists and researchers comes and they say, no, our research says that it never happened, that Christ never happened in Jerusalem. There was something, the crucifixion never happened, and it is all a concoction. Like this, if some Christian researchers themselves are saying, their scientists, their researchers, their religious scientists themselves are saying that no, we are finding that these are all questionable facts that are written in the Bible. So they themselves are questioning the facts. And when it happens, then what happens? Everything tumbles down. When people start doubting the very existence of Christ, then where is the Christianity? So this is what Swami says. That's why I say Vedanta alone is the religion. Why? Because it doesn't depend on any person whatsoever. It doesn't depend on person but principles. There is no man or woman who can claim to have created the Vedas. They are the embodiment of eternal principles. Sages discovered them, and now and then the names of these sages are mentioned. Just their names. We do not even know who or what they were. So this is another great thing. Vedantic teachings, Vedas. Some Rishi's name comes up, that he realized, he discovered these truths, and he wrote such and such Upanishad or something, so on and so forth. But nothing apart from that. Only name comes. Nobody knows who he was, when he was born, what was his life, who were his family, when he born and when he died, nothing. Nobody knows anything about it. So he just wrote, he just discovered those things, principles, and he left it to the humanity. So this is what is the depending on the principles. In many cases we do not know who their fathers were, and almost in every case we do not know when and where they were born. So this is the thing about our rishis. Nobody knows about anything about them. They were the preachers of principles, and they themselves, so far as they went, tried to become illustrations of the principles they preached. What they did? They only stuck to principles. They never divulged their own life. They never wrote, Acha, I was born in this family, I did such a great things, then I did such a great things, then I did such a great things, and this such so and so great things I did, and at this such and such time I died. No, nothing, no record they kept of themselves. What they did? But whatever they preached, the discovery of the Vedanta, discovery of their meditations and their samadhis, what they did? They lived that way. Their life was in consonant, was in sync with those principles that they preached. At the same time, just as our God is an impersonal and yet a personal God, so is our religion a most intensely impersonal one, a religion based upon principles, and yet with an infinite scope for the play of persons. For what religion gives you more, for what religion gives you more incarnations, more prophets and seers, and still waits for infinite more? So Swamiji says, here is a religion, here is a philosophy of Vedanta that not only is perfectly impersonal, perfectly dependent on principles, it doesn't care about any person, any life, any record and nothing, but at the same time, it has so many personal gods in it. It has so many seers, so many incarnations, so many prophets. And what it says, Bhagavata, Swami says, the Bhagavata says that incarnations are infinite, leaving ample scope for as many as you like to come. So they never say that our incarnation is one and the last, first and the last. Now nobody else can come. The other religious founders, they said that this is the first and last incarnation, so to speak. He was the Son of God. He is the prophet. He is the only prophet. Nobody ever can come better than him. So you put a dead end to that. But our Vedanta says, no, this is not a dead end. This is just a beginning. Infinite. No scope at all for any limitation or any boundaries. Go on. Prophets will come. Incarnations will come. As many as you want. You want thousands of incarnations, you give. If you want millions of them, you have. So this is the greatness of Vedanta. Therefore, if any one and more of these persons in India's religious history, any one or more of these incarnations, or any one or more of our prophets are proved not to have been historical, it does not injure our religion at all. That is what Swamiji says. Today you come and tell all your things, all your Ramakrishna, anybody, all are just your imagination. All hallucination, no problem. We have our principles. We are always we never told Rama is the only one, Krishna is the only one, Ramakrishna is the only. No. Rama also was exhibiting the principles. That's why we adore him. Krishna was also exhibiting the principles. That's why we adore him. And Ramakrishna also exhibiting the principles. That's why we adore him. If you remove all Ramakrishna, still we are happy. Because we have the principles intact. We have the philosophy intact, which is impersonal, which is transcendental. And that is what Swamiji is telling. That if you want a universal religion, if you want a religion that is applicable to anybody and everybody, then Vedanta and Vedanta alone. Then he says, even then it remains firm as ever. Even if you say all your is bogus, all your incarnations is total bogus, historically totally false, no problem. Thank you, sir, we will say. Thank you very much to say so. We also never believed it. So you did not do a new thing to us by telling us this. We also never depended on their historicity. We took their life. We took their wonderful narrations of their incidents in their life and their behaviors, their leelas, and we are enjoying them thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Nobody knows how many nobody knows when the Ramayana happened. Nobody knows when the Mahabharata happened. They claim, the scholars will claim 2000 BC or 5000 BC and so on and so forth. But nobody has ever understood it in actuality. Because we never depended on it. We never cared to know the historicity. Because we are very happy with what Rama did. We are most happy what Krishna exhibited his life in a way. Because he is the best commentary on the Vedanta, Swamiji says. We are happy with that. We don't care about his historicity. He continues. So, what is this? That because it is based on principles, well, that's why we won't be hurt if somebody comes and tells that your things are all hoax, and not upon persons. We never depended on persons. It is in vain we try to gather all the peoples of the world around a single personality. So it is a very vain thing to catch people and you force people and want them to kneel down around one person only. This is a vain thing to do. You should never do that. It is difficult to make them gather together, even around eternal and universal principles. Swami says, forget about bringing everybody and forcing them to kneel down in front of a person. Forget about that. But it is difficult to make them kneel down in front of eternal, universal principles themselves. The things which are universal, in front of that, such principles itself, people are not coming to. And how can you bring up all of such people in front of a single personality? So, if it ever becomes possible to bring the largest portion of humanity to one way of thinking in regard to religion, mark you, Swami says, mark you, it must be always through principles and not through persons. So this is very, very important thing that Indian religion, Indian philosophy, Indian Vedanta has given to the world. That we never are sticking to people. After one person comes, another person. So this philosophy, we see this sentiment being followed in our Ramakrishna Sangha also. Sangha, this also. Swami says, only stick to ideals. Don't stick to persons. That is what continuously we see. And that's why Swami says that Vedanta, this Ramakrishna Sangha, this Ramakrishna order is founded on the Vedantic principles. The principles are important. Tomorrow the photographs, the idols, the images, they may vanish. They may become irrelevant, but the principles won't become irrelevant. That is where the relevance of the place where I was, the Advaita Ashrama. Before I came here, I was in Advaita Ashrama, Mayavati. Why this Advaita Ashrama was founded by Swamiji? Because of that. See, let there be one such ashrama, one such place where we won't worship anything, we won't have a temple, we won't have a dualistic worship. Why? Because of this. Let us have one place which is founded completely on principles, on impersonal ideal. Let us have there nothing apart from Himalaya. Swamiji scolded his disciples. Why you have Himalaya here? Why you want another idol here? So why you have brought Guru Maharaj here? So no, not necessary. You just worship Guru Maharaj through Vedanta, through principles. If you want to meditate on Guru Maharaj, then you meditate on Vedantic principles, on that thought. So this is kind of insistence that Swamiji had. That principles, let us be rooted in principles, not in person. Then he says, yet as I have said, our religion has ample scope for the authority and influence of persons. But here is, because it is impersonal, so as many persons you can bring as you want. So there is no problem of authority and influence. There are so many persons in our religion, they have authority and they have influence. But they are not affecting the principles and they are not affecting the religion. There is that most wonderful theory of Ishta Devata, which gives you the fullest and the freest choice possible among these great religious personalities. So, what it does, the theory of Ishta Devata, Ishta, the chosen ideal. So, this gives a vast amount of variety. You can choose. You can pick and choose your own idea. There are so many personalities in Vedanta, in Vedantic religion, in Hinduism, that you can have your own choice. You are not forced. No, you have to kneel down in front of one son of God only, or one prophet of some Arabia only. No, it is not a compulsion. If you like this prophet, you choose this prophet. If you like that incarnation, you choose that incarnation. If you like this rishi, you like. If you like this guru, you will take this guru. Anybody and everybody, wherever you want, whatever you want, you have full freedom to choose. This is called the theory of Ishta. Once you choose your Ishta Devata and feel related to him or her or whatever you say, if you call it or Brahman or whatever, if you have that personal relationship with your chosen ideal, your God, then whatever, that is enough. That will make you survive. That will make you progress in spiritual life and attain the final enlightenment. You may take up any one of the prophets or teachers as your guide and the object of your special adoration. You are even allowed to think that he whom you have chosen is the greatest of the prophets and greatest of all avatars. There is no harm in that. But you must keep to a firm background of eternally true principles. So what he says, you say, my Rama is the best God. There is no apart from Rama that there is, all are subordinate, no problem. Our religion says no problem. Most welcome, sir. Because so far as you are firmly rooted in the background to principles to which Rama represents, then there is no problem. If you say, yes, my Rama is the best chosen ideal, but principles are this, that he represents universal principle, oneness of existence, Satchidananda, that Brahman, all these things, if they are rooted, your Rama is representing those principles, then no problem. Because you will not be against any Krishna follower. You will not be against any Shiva follower or a Shakti follower. You will be happy. Okay, let them go there. But my Rama is the best. Somebody will say, my Krishna is the best. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Some people will say, no, nothing apart from Krishna. You should not even think about anybody. So we see there are some organizations also. So they say, no, Krishna is the only. No before Krishna, no after Krishna. Like that, this tendency. So they say, okay, welcome, sir. You are also most welcome. So they don't hurt, because so far as they believe that Krishna is nothing but Brahman alone, who is manifesting in the form of Krishna. So no problem, if they understand it. If they think Krishna again as equivalent to Son of God of the Christians and Prophet of Arabia of the Muslims, then there will be a problem. If that Krishna is not founded on the principles of Vedanta, then there is a problem. But if their Rama or Krishna or Ramakrishna or Shiva or Shakti is founded on that eternal principles of Vedanta, that what? This God alone is real. This is one existence, indivisible Satchidananda, one homogeneous reality which has been appearing as so many different forms. And in those forms, one has been understood as Rama, one is understood as Krishna, Shiva, Shakti, so on and so forth. Then it is okay. So what he says, Swamiji, that the strange fact here is that the power of our incarnations has been holding good with us only so far as they are illustrations of the principles in the Vedas. So that power of incarnation is only true insofar as they are the illustrations of the principle, as we just now talked. So that's why Swamiji says, what he says, Avatara Varisthaya Ramakrishna Te Namah. Swami says, why? Because I am Sri Ramakrishna disciple, I am Sri Ramakrishna devotee, so I regard him as the Avatara Varisthaya, we say. We Ramakrishna devotees say, Ramakrishna is the best avatar. But it does not hurt the Vedantic religion. Because who is that Ramakrishna? He is the Brahman alone. He is Satchidananda. He is that eternal principle. So, and he is that Ramakrishna that we are saying the ultimate God, one who himself is worshipping all these gods. He himself is worshipping Rama, he himself is worshipping Krishna, he himself is worshipping Kali, Durga, Shiva, everybody. So he is such kind of Ramakrishna that we regard as the greatest of avatara, who himself is worshipping all of these. Morning and evening, afternoon and midnight, he is 24 hours, he is busy doing arati and doing nama sankirtanam of all the deities. He has not left anybody. So everybody he covered, everybody he prayed, everybody he worshipped like this. This is the greatest incarnation. So it doesn't hurt because he is founded on the eternal principles of Vedanta. Then he says, the glory of Sri Krishna is that he has been the best preacher of our eternal religion of principles, and the best commentator on the Vedanta that ever lived in India. So what is the glory of Sri Krishna? Because he told the Bhagavad Gita. And what is that Bhagavad Gita? It is the best commentary available on the Vedanta. So that is why that is the glory of Sri Krishna. Otherwise, Sri Krishna we don't regard as glorious as he should be. But we regard him glorious because he is the best commentator on the Vedantic principles. How? He told that wonderful Bhagavad Gita. The second claim of the Vedanta upon the attention of the world is that of all the scriptures in the world, it is the one scripture, the teaching of which is in entire harmony. Now he comes to another argument. The first argument is that Vedanta is universal. It doesn't cling to a person. It is impersonal. This is the first argument. Why it should be a universal religion? Why anybody and everybody in the world, planet, northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere, America or Japan, whatever it may be, anybody and everybody can follow universal Vedantic religion. Why? The first argument is that it is impersonal. It doesn't cling to a historicity of a person. It is non-historical. or trans-historical, let us say, transcendental. This transcends historicity also. That's why this Vedantic religion is the best one that Swamiji is saying. Why? What is my argument for saying that this Vedanta alone is the best? The first argument is it is impersonal. Now I come to second argument. The second argument is that now Swamiji is saying that it is the one scripture, the teaching of which is in entire harmony with the results that have been attained by the modern scientific investigations of external nature. So in those days, you see English, long sentences used to be there. One paragraph is one sentence. So we don't understand where to stop. When I read, I have to take 3-4 breaths. Then only I can finish one sentence. Those days, how, I don't know, while lecturing, how Swamiji used to say such a big sentences. I am panting for air. I'm loss of breath. But Swamiji is firing non-stop, it seems. So those days, it was this thing. Nowadays, we find English very short sentences we have to say. Otherwise, people won't understand. Come here, sit here, go there. Like these small sentences only we can understand. If I tell a big sentence, then people will start wondering, oh, I have lost it now. What word he said in the beginning, now I have lost. So again I have to repeat. That's why many times I keep the same things I keep on repeating. Because when the audience, when the hearing people, one day they catch only the latest 2-3 words. And the previous 2-3 words are lost. So I have to go on repeating the same thing. So this is such a long sentence Swamiji has said. What he is saying, the second argument is that this Vedantic teaching is very much in consonance, in parallel with scientific investigations of the modern times. Two minds in the dim past of history, cognate to each other in form and kinship and sympathy, started being placed in different routes. Now Swamiji is coming to the very beginning of civilization, humanity. So, in two natures, Swamiji is always dividing these into things, like our Vedanta, Shreya, Preya, good, bad. All these things are duality. So, here also Swamiji kinds of aggregates or generalizes two trends in humanity that began. What were two trends began? The one was the ancient Hindu mind, and the other, the ancient Greek mind. These were the two things. Different routes they followed. One route was followed by Hindu mind, ancient Hindu mind. Another route was followed by ancient Greek mind. What was that? The former started by analyzing the internal world. The Hindu mind started this one route. It started by analyzing the internal world. It did not bother about building bridges, nice roads, having nice everything, modern everything, amenities and facilities and things and so on and so forth. It did not go into that thing. What he chose, the Hindu mind chose, he chose the internal world. They continuously kept on thinking about themselves, their mind. Oh, achha, this is happening. Let me think why it is happening. What is wrong with me? What did I do? What can I do so that I can change this? So they are not changing the road. Oh, there is a problem in the road. The roads are not good. Bridges are not good. Are not good. Traveling facilities and transportation is not. When the problem came, the Greek mind or Western mind, what they did? Acha, there is a problem. So we'll make a good road, good house. These technologies. So to solve the problem, what the road they chose is another road. What Hindu mind did? Acha, I am facing this problem. Let me study my mind. Where I am going wrong? Let me study. Okay, I have done a mistake. Okay, or I am grieving. I am suffering. I am miserable. Okay, I have to go to happiness. Okay, but how to go? I will study myself. I will study my body first. So first they started studying their body. And then what are the problems in the body? So what is the mismatch between body and the nature? My behavior, my patterns, my life cycle, everything they studied, and they found out about the structure of the body, the function of the body, who is functioning. Then they went inside the mind because only studying the body will not be sufficient. Let me go inside because something is controlling the body. What is that mind? So if I have to really holistically solve the problem, I have to go to the mind. Then they studied mind. Then they studied the different vrittis of the mind, different vasanas, different sanskaras, different tendencies. Okay. Then they went on studying. Oh, acha, this is the mind. Who is controlling? Like this, they went the inner route. And the latter, Swami says, the latter started in search of that goal beyond by analyzing the external world, like we discussed. If they want to do something, go towards eternal happiness, eternal life, pleasure, then they went into the outside world. And even though the various vicissitudes of their history, it is easy to make out these two vibrations of thought as tending to produce similar echoes of the goal beyond. So what is that? And even though the various vicissitudes of their history, so both have got their own vicissitudes of the history, their own struggles in the history and their own problems in the history that they had to face, but it is easy to make out these two vibrations of thought as tending to produce similar echoes of the goal beyond. So both are going into the similar, they are echoing the same goal, similar goal, that is beyond, to go beyond this. It seems clear that the conclusions of modern materialistic science can be acceptable harmoniously with their religion only to the Vedantins or Hindus as they are called. So what Swami says, it seems clear that these modern materialistic science conclusions are acceptable harmoniously with only one thing, one religion, that is Vedanta. It seems only this one religion proves that no problem. What happens is Christianity, if the moment the historicity of Christ is doomed, if it is contradicted or disproved, then the whole material science becomes powerful. They will say, yes, see, now we are telling you all the time that science is superior to religion, and now we were proved right and you are proved wrong. Your Christ is all hoax. It's all hocus pocus, your religion is. So that we are proved. If the scientists prove that the Prophet of Arabia was, his historicity was doubtful, it's ambiguous, then what happens? Scientists will say, modern science will say, we are telling you all the time that religion is nothing. It is against the science, it is not of any use. Your Prophet himself is not historically correct, is the record. So we are telling you science only is the dominant thing. But they cannot say it about Vedanta. They cannot. They will not be able to tell that your Vedanta is hocus pocus. They cannot say that your Vedas and Vedanta are all hoax. It's all imagination, because they are principles. They are not imagination. They are realization. They are discoveries of the rishis. They are the seers. They are the discoverers of these principles. So they are in line. The modern science will be in line with the this religion of Hindus, the religion of Vedantins. Then he says, it seems clear that modern materialism can hold its own and at the same time approach spirituality by taking up the conclusions of the Vedanta. So, what he is saying, Swamiji's very bold claim it is, in a way, that there is no conflict. The modern science need not be continuously struggle, which it is doing about Christianity and Islam. What modern science is doing? Continuously trying to disprove that, see, we are telling you, we are digging out the things and we are telling that you are false. But here, in this case, they cannot do that. They cannot dig out any earth or any soil or anywhere, any river or any ocean and say, no, your Vedanta is. But it is, because it is not at all any historical record or anything. It has nothing to do. So they cannot say that. And that's why they can live. They need not give up their science. The modern scientists, modern people, materialistic science, need not give it up, give it itself and come to spirituality of Vedanta, but it can coexist with the Vedantic spirituality. This is the greatness of Vedanta. How he will explain now. It seems to us and to all who care to know, Swami says, who care to know, they will only understand that the conclusions of modern science are the very conclusions the Vedanta reached ages ago. Only, Swami says, only in modern science they are written in the language of matter. So where is the difference now? So the conclusions are same. Where Vedanta reached ages ago, what conclusions they reached, now modern science is reaching. But only thing, what language? Vedanta reached in the language of the spirit. Vedanta reached in the language of the transcendent, language of the soul, of God, of Atman, of Brahman. This was the language used by Vedanta. What science is reaching the same thing, telling them in the language of matter. What they are saying? That there is one energy. That energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can be converted from one form into another and so on and so forth. What they are telling? It is energy. The energy means it is connected with matter and energy. So Swamiji had a discussion, detailed discussion and these things about all these matters with Tesla. So this he is going to mention about him, the Tesla, that is discussion. So he says, this then is another claim of the Vedanta upon modern Western minds, its rationality, the wonderful rationalism of the Vedanta. So what it claims, Vedanta claims to modern rational minds, Western minds, that it is the rationalism, that it claims that I am rational. No, Vedanta says I am rational, fully rational. There is nothing irrational in my philosophy. And I have myself been told by some of the best Western scientific minds of the day how wonderfully rational the conclusions of the Vedanta are. I know. So Swamiji had discussion with the scientists, the then scientists, leading scientists, and they themselves used to tell after hearing his lectures that Swamiji, what you are telling has been very much consonant. It is very much in line with our thought. That is what we are pursuing. That is what we are discovering now. So then he says, I know one of them personally, that he is actually not mentioning the name of Tesla, but he is most probably talking about Tesla, because he had discussions there with Tesla there, Nikola Tesla. So not the modern Tesla company, but Nikola Tesla, upon whose name the company has come. So this, I know one of them personally, who scarcely has time to eat his meal or go out of his laboratory, but who yet would stand by the hour to attend my lecture on the Vedanta. So Swami says, this was the man, this was such a person I know personally. I had conversations with him, and this is the person who does not bother. He is such a dedicated to science, and Tesla's life was like that. He lived completely dedicated. He lived his life of seclusion. He never had a family, nothing. His whole life he lived in a kind of his own laboratory, and he used to whole day and night he used to be involved in his experiments. So all those kind of wonderful discoveries that Tesla did in those days about electric charge, about electricity, and so on and so forth. So many things. He used to be busy all the time, 24 hours. If you even now his online, if you search his life, they will say that Tesla, how reclusive life he lived, whole life. He never got involved into any things of the world, and he was like a rishi in a sense, Western rishi, and he lived like that. So such a person Swamiji is praising indirectly without naming him. And what he says, he used to attend my lectures, and with very much great interest, he would stand by the hour. So he used to patiently listen to my lectures, and as he expresses it, as what that person only himself told me, that they are so scientific, the findings of Vedanta, they so exactly harmonize with the aspirations of the age and with the conclusions to which modern science is coming at the present time. So he himself told me that, see, these conclusions are so harmonized with the science. So science did not say, though we are at loggerheads with Vedanta or your religion, any religion for that matter. If you come to this universal religion of Vedanta, you will have no problem with science. Yes, science will be accommodated. It will be harmonized with our religion. So what Swamiji is trying to say, both Eastern and Western societies in the future civilization, they can nicely mingle together. They can coexist together very amicably, friendly. How? If they accept these universal principles of Vedanta. If they accept it, then they won't be having any tough fight with the science, because the modern scientist, as soon as, now what is the problem? As soon as you become a modern scientist, you are against religion. You always scolding religious people. Why? Because you don't know the Vedanta. You are ignorant about Vedantic principles. That's why what you think, these are religious people. They are only the evil of the society. The scientist blames. What the religious person blames? These scientists, they are modern scientists. They are spoiling the whole culture. They don't have any idea about religion and spirituality. They are materialistic people. They are all behind enjoyment and bhoga, so on and so forth. So the religious person is blaming scientist. Scientist is blaming religious person. So Swamiji is telling this universal religion will solve all these problems. If you come to Vedanta, this problem will be solved. Scientists will not have anything to blame. You see, if you have the theory of Advaita, the philosophy of Advaita Vedanta, that Shankaracharya, the great Shankaracharya preached, and he established in more than thousand years before, that he established this principle, Vedantic principle, Advaita principle. If if you accept, then scientists will have no say at all. He will be defeated completely. He will say, oh no, our science is also telling the same thing, that we are all nothing but energy, and we are trying to find out one particle which guides all the particles in the universe. So we are still searching the Higgs boson, and then God's particle, and this and that, so on. And why we are doing this particle research and theory? Because we want to go boil down all the particles, behind the electron, behind the proton, behind the neutron, behind this positron, this and tron, all these trons, there is something that we want to find out. And that is what same your Advaita is telling. That only one indivisible Satchidananda is nothing but it is manifesting. Exactly, wow, wonderful. So there is no fight, no battle, no bloodshed now. No people holding each other's collar and beating each other. So nothing. So harmoniously it can live. That is the wonderful future civilization, the Vedantic civilization. That is what Swamiji has come for. So now I think our time is up. So we will continue. The next Swamiji is now slowly coming to another argument now. So we will better to continue it later. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.